Hey everybody, in today's video, we're going to take a look at the brand new ASI2600MC Air. And as I understand it, this actually started off as an April Fool's joke, but it is a pretty cool idea because they're taking the fantastic ASI2600 Duo camera, which is currently my #1 recommendation, and somehow they're fitting an ASIair inside of there. So in today's video, I want to do an unboxing, we'll see together what's in here, and then we'll test this out and see just how well it works. Alright, so under this foam pad, it looks like we have the ASI2600 Air, and the first thing I notice is that it has a thread for an antenna, which is one thing I was worried about, because I was thinking, how is this going to transmit a Wi-Fi signal effectively? And it looks like we have an accessories box as well. Let me just pull everything out of here, and then we'll see what exactly comes in the box. So first up, we have, of course, the 2600 Air, along with the antenna. There's also a very small Allen key, which is useful for something, I guess. Then we have the threaded adapter ring and the 2 spacers, which allows you to connect the camera to your telescope. There's also a roll of Velcro to keep your cables organized. And then we have a pile of power connectors and then 2 USB-B cables. That's everything in the box. And if we take a look at the back of the camera, things look radically different than what we're used to. We have the antenna connection at the top of the camera. Then we have a Type-C USB port. I'm guessing that allows you to connect this directly to your computer to transfer the images. We have 4 USB 2.0 ports, either for input or output. Then we have 3 power ports, which can either be in or out. That's the DC 12 volt 3 amps. And if we compare this to the original ASI 2600 Duo, you will see a stark difference. But the nice thing is that because the ASIair is built into the camera, that should mean less cables. The 2600 Air has the same adapter size as the 2600 Duo. This is at M54 that you might recognize. And that means if you want to install this on your telescope, you'll start by taking that small threaded adapter ring, putting it on the rear threads of your telescope. Then you'll take the 2 spacers, and they should fit on the telescope thread now, provided you've installed that small adapter ring. Finally, we'll take the 2600 Air and just screw it onto the back of that spacer. That's all there is to it. It's a pretty simple installation. Let's take all the gear outside, then we'll grab the antenna and screw it onto the back of the 2600 Air. At that point, the only thing left is to connect the cables. And it was at this point that I started getting confused, and it left me scratching my head because I'm so used to having an ASIair. I said, well, wait a minute, what cables do I actually need? Well, I guess I need a power cable to power up the camera and the built-in ASIair. Then I need a USB cable to connect the mount to the back of the camera. That's really all there is to it though. Of course, I need a way to power the mount, but this should really reduce the amount of cables and clutter that are involved with your astrophotography setup. So I start off by attaching a USB 2.0 cable from the back of the camera to the USB-C port on the AM5N. This new USB location does make things easier because you don't need to have a USB cable reaching all the way around the mount. So that is one reason to consider getting the new version of the AM5. Next, I grabbed a right angle power adapter and I plugged it into one of the 3 power inputs or outputs on the back of the ASI2600 Air. The other end of that cable went into the power output of the AM5. The only other cables that you might need to attach are a dew heater and an electronic assisted focuser, both of which would plug into the 4 USB ports on the back of the camera. Next, I'm going to attach a power cable from my AM5 to my Jackery battery. I'm using a DC 12 volt cable, which has a cigarette lighter plug, and this works well for me. However, I have heard some reports of Jackeries having power issues when doing the AM5, so you might want to do your own research and find a better solution, but I personally haven't had any problems. Alright, well that was surprisingly easy. We only need 3 cables total to get everything up and running. That is certainly one benefit of this 2600 Air, is that there's less cable clutter and less risk of having accidents in the middle of the night. Next, I'll connect to the 2600 Air's Wi-Fi network, and we'll go through the initial setup and see if there's any noticeable changes. It was able to find the Wi-Fi network no problem. The default password should be 123456778. We'll give that a try, and then we'll connect. But you have to remember that the first time you connect to an ASIair, it's going to give you a warning message, and you want to make sure that you choose don't ask again and hit yes. That will allow your phone to stay connected to the network without getting disconnected for your home network. So make sure you do that. Next, let's find the ASIAir app on our phone and see if it will connect. Because this is my first time using this ASIAir unit, it wants me to do the activation. If I remember, this has always been a pain, but let's just try online activation. Oh, all right, well that was easy. So we'll hit OK. Now it's telling me that the app version is out of date, but I know for a fact I have the recent version. So I'm guessing that because this is a pre-release model, that I probably need some beta software, but I don't want to deal with all that for right now. So I'm just going to ignore this and move on. I am using the AM5, so for the mount, I'll choose AM5/AM3. The main camera, let's see, yeah, there it is, ASI2600MC Air. The guide camera would be the 220 Mini. The focal length for my main scope, I'm using the SpaceCat 61, which has 300 millimeters. And because the auto guider sensor is built into the main camera, I would have the same guide scope focal length as well. Everything else should be good. I'll hit enter. And what I want to do now is inspect the general menu system and see if there's any noticeable differences between this built-in ASIAir and a standalone ASIAir. This looks pretty standard to me. There's no input or output voltage because nothing's connected. We can adjust the sound mode as well as the temperature units. That's all pretty standard there. Let's move over to the main camera settings next. I'm going to set the gain to 100. That should be the default gain for this camera. And if we scroll down, I always like to have my cooling set to minus 20 degrees Celsius. That should result in cleaner images. And it's always advisable to customize your file name and turn on all the switches. This will embed all the relevant information into your file names to make it easier when you get to the computer. If we back out of here and take a look at the advanced settings, this looks virtually identical as well, probably because I'm still using the older ASIAir app. They might have new features to go along with this new camera in the future. As for the guide settings, not really much to talk about here. I'm just going to get mine set up though, if we do get a clear night. I want to have my dithering turned on, probably a distance of 5 pixels for the SpaceCat 61. And for the guide stability, I probably don't need a timeout of 60 seconds. I'll try 30 seconds. That should be good enough. Let's move down to the mount settings next. And inside of here, everything looks as you would expect. We do have a heavy duty mode though, which you might want to look into, especially if you're shooting in cold environments. Beyond that though, I'm not really seeing anything else worth noting. So let's head over to the internal storage menu next. Whoa, check that out. We actually have 233 gigabytes of free space built in to this new camera. That's certainly a nice upgrade from the ASIAir Mini I've been using, which only has about 20 gigabytes of free space. And there are 4 USB ports on the back of the camera, so you could probably just attach a flash drive and copy all the files from the built-in memory to a flash drive and ultimately to your computer. I don't think we're going to see any other real changes between the 2600 Air and a standard ASIAir because I'm still using the original firmware as of August 14th, 2024. If I had to guess, I would say when they actually release this camera publicly, they'll have a big firmware update, which will include new features. And I will make an updated video when that happens. But for right now, things are pretty much as you would expect. One of my main questions when I first heard about this camera is how the Wi-Fi range would be compared to a standard ASIAir. And that's what I want to test next. So everything's powered on. I've got the ASIAir app loaded on my phone. And I'm just going to walk around to different parts of the house and backyard and see how far I can go before I lose reception, and also see how fast the transfer speeds are from different areas. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you might notice a change of scenery. That's because I recently moved from the Pacific Northwest to eastern Idaho, and I'm hoping this will allow me to do a lot more astrophotography over the next year. At the very least, the views are amazing, even with cloudy skies. Anyway, now that I'm here in the backyard, and I have a full house between me and the camera, let's test the Wi-Fi range and see if it can still transmit. Well, it is transmitting technically, but it's very slow, and I am getting a warning notification on the Wi-Fi. So based on what I'm seeing here, this is just too much for the 2600 Air. I mean, I do have a full house in front of me, and probably, I'd say at least 50 feet or more away from the unit. As you might expect, this will obviously change depending on how your house is built and just how far away you are from your own astrophotography rig. Okay, I'm back in the front yard, and I want to test this again from inside the house. So we're going to start off easy. I'm just going to go through the front door where we only have one wall and one window between me and the gear, and we'll see if it can transmit without a problem. More importantly, I want to see just how fast we can get for the transfer speeds. That'll make it easier to inspect your photos throughout the night. I'll start by taking a preview photo, and we'll see what happens. If you look in the lower right, we see that our transfer speed is about 4 megabytes per second. That's not bad at all. It's actually quite fast. And we're not really going to see anything because this is just a dark frame, but there we go. I want to do one final test, so I'm going to head downstairs. I'm guessing it's going to have trouble because it has to transmit through all that ground and the walls, but at the same time, I'm not that far away. So let's see what happens. I am walking to the far end of the basement further away from the mount just to make this test a bit more difficult for it. And if we look at our transfer speeds, let's see what happens. We're about 2 megabytes now, so we've cut it in half, but that's still not bad at all. I will note that the Wi-Fi reception at the top there is reaching its limit, so we are kind of pushing things as far as we should in terms of the range. Based on these Wi-Fi tests, I don't have any problem with the 2600R. It seems to be on par with the Mini and the ASIAir Plus as well. And that's about all I've got for you in today's video. I've shown you the new camera. We've tested out the Wi-Fi range. We've seen some of the new features. And if you're looking to buy your first dedicated astro camera, this might be a smart choice, especially if you don't already have an ASIair. I will be creating more videos on this camera as ZWO releases the new firmware updates later on this year. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.